Okay, I know it's a little early, but I've picked our Halloween costumes for next year. We're gonna be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but for the Leafs. What does that even mean? Okay, we'll both wear Leaf jerseys, so it's a bit of a stretch. Oh, where are we gonna find one? I'll be Dr. Jekyll and wear a sign that says first period. You be Mr. Hyde and wear a sign that says third period. Look at it, finally! Good old Canadian fire. Country! Yeah. Deal with it. Neon smash! Owen Grabowski. GTFO. I got it from afar. Leafs win 5-4 over the Ottawa Senators. In regulation. Almost wasn't in regulation. That was a bit of a nail-biter at the end. But here's why that is important. The Leafs are, despite predictions and statistical evidence that says they should be otherwise, 5th place in the East with 30 points in 24 games. Up on the 6th place Ottawa Senators, who have 28 points, and maybe more importantly, the 9th place Philadelphia Flyers, who have 23. And I was perusing some stats as I was having my morning coffee, cheap advertising for my employer. And the Leafs are 2nd in the NHL in something. Do you know what it is? Alright, it's big that the Leafs are up on all these teams in terms of points. But, you know, they could come crashing back down to earth. Maybe they only go 500 for the rest of the season. Maybe they go sub 500 for the rest of the season. But there is a key. In the event of a tiebreaker, if the Leafs are battling for 8th, or even if they're tied for 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, whatever, they have the second most regulation wins in the entire league. 15 wins in regulation. That is second only to the Chicago Blackhawks, who kind of have won every game but 3, and even in those games they still got points. With a record like that, even if you're not first in something, you're first in it. But the Leafs, 30 points, 5th place in the East, the second most regulation wins in the entire league with 15, and I'm going to make a prediction right now. I'm afraid I might be jinxing it. I say right now, oh, maybe they're playing the Bruins tonight. I probably shouldn't. Okay, I'm not actually going to say it, but I think you know, right? But I have a reason for why I think they're gonna do that thing that I'm not gonna say, but you know that I know that you know I'm thinking, right? In recent years, whenever you just start to build hope in this team, whenever you're like, gosh, gee willikers, there they are, that's a good squad, they seem to just poof into the ground. Whether it was missing the playoffs by 1 point in 05-06 with a ridiculous run at the end of the season, whether it was missing the playoffs by 1 point in 06-07, whether it was the miraculous Leafs push to the playoffs when Reimer was still a rookie, that it was unbelievable how long they stayed in it, whether it was last year 6th place into February and they somehow nosedive into having a top 5 pick in the draft. It seems the second you say, check out them Leafs, they check out. But the good thing I'm going to say, if Twitter is a gauge, no one believes in this team yet. Everyone still hates Randy Carlyle. I was listening to the post-game show on the radio and they're still ragging on Phaneuf. Kessel had a goal and 3 points in this game against the Sens, but he's still got to do more. A lot of people hate the Korbinian-Holzer re-signing. And I'm not even hating on the people that are thinking those things because they're probably mostly right. And negativity be damned, I hope they continue thinking that way because the second anyone believes in this team, they fall. Just like that weird feeling you had last night when they were up 3-0 and you're like, here we go, boys. Oh boy, was that not pretty. This game against the Sens, the Leafs won a game in regulation that they maybe outplayed their opponent in 1 period, and that was the first. And as long as we're talking about the first 26 seconds in, we might as well talk about it. Fraser McLaren dropped Dave Jarzynski hard. McLaren just caught him with a really good right, and he was out before he hit the ice, and then he hit the ice. And there's the argument that fights fire up your team, and you could definitely, I suppose, make that argument for the Leafs, who went up 2-0 in the first right after that fight, and then 3-0 into the second. I disagree. Nobody sounded all that fired up when he was getting dragged off the ice, barely standing on his own 2 feet. And I think fights can fire the players up sometimes, but I don't want to get into the fighting debate this video. Everyone else is talking about it today, so you know what? We'll save it. We'll pocket that. Remind me on Twitter. Hope Jarzynski's okay. That looked bad, and after what Colton Orr went through, you know how bad concussions from fights can be. The first 2 goals I want to talk about, though, because, yeah, the Leafs don't always out-chance their opponents, but they kind of make their own luck. Yeah, Bozak's goal to open up the scoring was a bit of a fluke, kind of on a pinball deflection, but if you watch the replay of the goal, all 5 Leafs touched the puck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in. And when you're moving it well, sometimes things happen. Second goal, Nikolai Kulemin doesn't always put up the big points, but he does a lot of things you don't really see. For McClemon's goal, Kuhlman goes for the puck, and Kyle Turris comes to challenge him, and Kuhlman's like, "What are you doing?" and just shoulder shrugs him off. Puck comes loose to McClement, and it's in the net. I wouldn't call that a great scoring chance, but the Leafs kind of made their own luck on that play. And another example of that would be Kadri's goal, the 5-2 goal, which ended up being the game-winning 5-4 goal. Behind the Sens net, Leo Komarov is fighting off 2 Sens for the puck. Zibanejad finally comes out with it, but not entirely. It just comes loose to Kadri, takes a shot. Bishop should have had it, but he didn't, and Kadri scores. Once again, not a great scoring chance. You take that shot 10 times, Bishop will probably stop at 9, but you make your own luck. I'm not saying this kind of thing is sustainable. I'm not saying the Leafs outplayed the Sens. The Sens murdered the Leafs, I thought, but when you do those things, sometimes you win. So a few things in the comment box I'm willing to see from you. You can talk about the Holzer re-signing, or you can talk about that thing that I won't say, but you can't use the word that I won't say. You know the word. By the way, I've been citing chances for and against and stuff and how the Sens outplayed the Leafs. If you want to see those stats, post-game blog in the underbar. Because you might be like, what's Steve talking about? And then you'll read that and be like, oh. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time, because the Leafs play the Bruins tonight in the second game of back-to-back. Eep.